ahead and get started. Thanks everyone for joining in. Malinda, we'll have to figure out, you can probably coach me on this, but actually how to make you a co-host in Zoom because I don't know how
Oh,
to
easy
do that.
breezy. Yeah, I'll show
Okay.
you how to do it. I'll give you
Okay.
a Zoom class.
Okay. I could use a Zoom class because
I'll give
I
you guys a
literally
Zoom
did a
class.
paid version to do this. So I am now paying for Zoom officially.
Zoom, I find that, a lot of people, there's a lot of other good platforms too, Yardbird, and there's some other ones out there, but I particularly like Zoom because you can do it live in other platforms and you can add as many co-hosts as you want and you can have people registered and capture their information to help market to them better and it loads up nicely on YouTube without any issues. So I like Zoom. I think
Yeah.
it's worth the money. And I think it's great if you're a salon owner, for example, it's a great onboarding process for your staff. So if you're trying to grow your staff, to create a whole series of onboarding education platforms, it's perfect for that. I use it when I create educational training videos for my platform just for educating, but I also use it for clients. I have client videos and how-to things for clients and I house them on the back door of the website and it's really Zoom's super well worth the money if you take advantage of all the little bells and whistles. Plus, not that I have one on, but you can use a filter and look at your cool background.
It's my products.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see? So when you're selling your products to your clients, there they are in the back.
That's true. Branding 101 right there for
Mm-hmm.
sure. So today we're going to talk about how to run a lean business, especially in today's recession that we're experiencing in the industry. A lot of these strategies are things that I already do in my business, not just in a recession. And in fact, a lot of these things are things that I started with as soon as I had the money or the time or the resources to be able to grow a profitable business. Malinda is co-hosting Malinda McHenry, what do you call yourself?
You're such a bad friend. The aesthetic professor. That's
Professor.
my, yeah, the aesthetic professor. That's my webby site. And that's
It's
mine.
been
And
I
that was
just
a nickname that was given to me by the cool broads of Lyra Clinical because I used to own a beauty college and all I ever wanted to do was share information. So they always used to nickname me. That started in the 90s, the aesthetic professor. Here comes the professor. Of course, I also had really bad vision then, and I wore little horn rim glasses. And then they were little like professor glasses. And then I got LASIKs. And now I only get to wear them if I want blue blockers, which blue blockers are amazing when you're on a computer all day. But yeah, so aesthetic professor, that's the nickname on out there. Some people know me by it, some people don't know me at all. So that's good too.
yes. Well, we were having a conversation a while back, and I remember we were talking numbers, and so many people in our industry are actually afraid to talk about numbers or don't talk about numbers. I think, especially as a female predominant industry, like we don't talk about our pay. We don't talk about numbers and business numbers and how we're doing, or maybe we fake things or we lie about things because we really don't want people to know the truth. But the truth is, running a business is so hard. And being able to run a profitable business is even harder. So I really wanted to host this with Malinda because we've had these conversations where we're not afraid to talk about the real numbers of running a business. And I do have just a very simple outline. So we're just going to kind of like free throw it. That's kind of how I roll sometimes and just to kind of see how things goes. If anybody has a question, go ahead and put it in the chat box. That would be fabulous. But the first thing, is we really want to evaluate and optimize our expenses. When we're trying to control our expenses and increase the bottom line, one of the first things that we really can dig deep into is figure out how much we're actually spending. And I have a personal confession. I've had somebody do my books pretty much for the whole time I've been in business. And the more that I grew, the further I got away from my books. And this year, I started getting much more back into my books because I noticed my spending was starting to get a little bit out of control. And I wanted to make sure that I was going to get a paycheck again because I actually had to forego a paycheck for a majority of this year. And there's multiple reasons for that, multiple reasons, which we don't need to talk about today. But I've been able to, since getting back into my books, been able to really control those expenses and not, go for the shiny object syndrome, like, so many of us have done in our lives. So, how do you analyze your expenses? Well, sometimes you just got to put your credit card away. I mean, I can get Dave Ramsey 101 over here. If you are not looking at your balances before you're making purchases, you can ask yourself, does the company need this right now to operate today?
Yeah,
That
I was going to say, one of my big questions going into expenditures is, do I need to want it or do I want to need it? And sometimes you just kind of have to go, okay, do I really need to have it or do I just really want to need it? I really think I need it. But so I do the 24 hours, sleep on it 24 hours deal. And don't let anybody fool you guys. If you're thinking about bringing on new technology, new services, whatever, you've done your research, you feel like your clients have the demand for it. And you'll say you're at a trade show, well, it's only good today. People who threaten you with their discounts, I'm like, look, if you can discount me 15% today, you can discount me 15% tomorrow. I don't want to hear that crap because I know what cost of goods are. I buy and sell all the time. So I need the time to think about this investment. And if you can't give me to the end of the week to make this educated decision, then you really don't want my business and you're not somebody I want to do business with anyways. So don't let anybody bully you into it because it's a show deal or it's only this one time only or we only have 3 of these models left. Well, then I guess, if you only have 3 left and you're coming out with something new, why do I want that crappy model anyways? That's my answer to that. Like, oh, these
yeah.
are the last 3 in the whole world. Okay. So yeah, and I don't hesitate sometimes to buy used if I need to. I mean, I know Liz, you and I have both bought refurbished equipment plenty of times and saved money that way, or look at a lease or other ways of zero interest financing using somebody else's money. So, but you're right. Finding out where you're spending your money that's the hardest part about owning the business. It's like, because then you got to face your Starbucks habits and your other
Yeah.
little lunch habits. And yeah,
And
one time
actually, you make a really good point with the next point that I was going to say is negotiating with suppliers. So if you are going to a trade show and people are kind of pushy, they always have a show discount.
yeah,
I mean, generally people do, all you have to do is ask for it.
yeah,
I've never been turned down once when I've asked for a trade show discount after a trade show.
yeah, me neither. They want the sale.
Yeah.
And I
Now
don't,
that I'm doing high-end med spa treatments, like the laser treatments, when somebody's like, you know, do I get a discount? I'm like, if you do more than one service, yeah, we're happy to. So let's talk about this. Or if they're a really good client, yeah, I'll negotiate that. Like my med spa prices are 100% negotiable. A lot of my other services are not, but I have high demand for those. Whereas my demand for something more expensive, like a piece of equipment, is often negotiable when you're trying to make a purchase.
And women don't negotiate.
Mm-mm.
That's a trait that women are known for. I was doing makeup for a client for Good Morning America, and she specialized in business and women business in particular. And they did a study where they had people come in, men and women come in and say, well, we want you to do this task, whatever, like type up this letter and we'll give you $20. And every woman that came in took the $20 and left. Almost all of the men, they said, well, how about $25? Well, can't you give me 30? They all negotiated for more money and got it because they negotiated for it. So they were just proving the point that women, for whatever reason, and it usually comes down to self-value, self-worth, staying small, don't ask for more and don't negotiate to get the better price or the better salary, that kind of thing. And usually, that you can save a lot of money just by asking. Like, find that friend who loves to haggle and bring them with you everywhere. That's my mom. She will haggle, a haggler, and she will wear them down. So get that person and have them come with you for everything.
That's me.
Like, some people love it. I hate it, but a lot of people love it.
I don't love it, but I don't love being screwed either.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. Even if let's say you're working at a spa and you know your worth and you ask for a raise and you can justify the raise. And this is the one thing I always say too, because we don't know the business owner's business. That's the business owner's business. So we don't know what kind of situation they're in. So sometimes going into asking for more pay gets down to being able to justify why you're worth more pay. I bring in this, my hands are capped, I'm booked out this far, there's no room for growth. I need to have more per service in order to continue to stay here. And this is my value as it is now. And by offering me this much more, not only are you going to increase my bottom line, but like the best way to ask for a raise is ask to have your price points raised if you're on a hourly plus commission. And if you've got employees, and Liz will tell you she's been down this path, that's one way to offer them a raise as an incentive, but they have to come to you for a justification how they have earned that raise. And you need to teach them how to justify, how to ask for that and how to do that. But I agree with you, Laura, that most women don't ask for what they want. They just come in with and then they go, oh, well, and then they make excuses. Well, I can't afford that now. So yeah. And then they walking away from hearing what it is. And not even hearing the follow-up sentence usually is, what would it take to get you into this? What can you afford? What would you like to do? Maybe we can work something out, a layaway, money down, a financing. There are options to you, and they hear the price and they just throw in the towel. Mm-hmm. And then they walk away from something that could potentially make them a lot more money. So,
and negotiating with your landlord too.
That's a good point.
In so many different things, my previous landlord, I negotiated with him on a lot of things, and it was extremely beneficial to both of our interests. We had a great relationship, and a lot of it came down to our negotiations. And it is an art form, and a little tidbit of information is there are some YouTube guys out there, like they're car salesmen, and they teach the art of negotiation. And I'm not kidding. I watch their videos every time I'm interested in thinking about buying a car. Okay, what can I improve upon? So there's tons of free resources out there when we are looking to better our skills through negotiation. Now, the next thing is outsourcing. Outsourcing is probably a love-hate relationship for a lot of us here. Can I get nods on that? Yeah, maybe. I've had some great outsourcing experiences and some bad ones. But the nice thing about outsourcing is it can just be task specific. So you can really cut on expenses. I usually send people to Fiverr right away for when they're looking to outsourcing things. I've done great business with people on Fiverr, and I've referred people to these people. I've had almost predominantly excellent experiences outsourcing through them. So that's something too. Did somebody say something?
No, I said I've had good experiences on Fiverr.
Yeah.
I haven't had any bad ones yet.
Yeah, really good. So that's just another thing to look at when you're looking at your expenses. So instead of hiring employees, like I need an employee to do this or that, usually when people, like when I'm coaching people or somebody comes to me asking for advice of like, I'm ready to hire my first esthetician. I'm like, is that your first employee? And I usually advise against it. Now, that can definitely be their business, but I usually advise against it because I think people need to start outsourcing the things that we do in the time when we're not in the treatment room generating revenue. And that's usually just kind of that's how I run my business. It's my business, it's nobody else's, so people can do what they want. But if you're so busy and so tied up that you don't have time to even train the person you're hiring, it's probably not going to work out so well, because they need attention from the business owner, the person training them. So my first hire I usually recommend in this industry is a support staff, one that can turn over your rooms, answer your phone calls. I mean, they can even answer emails, text messages, and stuff like that for booking appointments, and getting them to learn that front desk position. So when you bring on an esthetician, they know what to do, and that person can train them in that area, and you can train them in aesthetics. Is that work? Will that work for everybody? Probably not, but it worked well for me.
It worked well for me doing it that way as well.
Yeah.
You know, and we're so when you're operating lean, I think the one thing you have to really get down is the cost. Really know the cost of just what is it to open the doors and close the doors, because I'm amazed at how much overhead per hour you can cut by really knowing what that bottom line dollar is. Especially when it comes to, especially today, when it comes to advertising and little like superfluous things. Like, I can't believe how many people go to Sam's Club and buy 45 rolls of toilet paper for a solo esthetician. It's like, but why? You could go to Aldi's and get a 6-pack that will last you and your clients for almost the month for $3.80 versus $23.80. There's so much disposables that back up and pile up, and just wasted spending on bulk and wasted spending on retail. Just retail alone, I find that people tie up so much money on retail to buy on their back shelf that, I'm like, how long has this been sitting? When I go into a salon, Liz, and I see a girl has 15 items from this line and 22 items from that line, and there's only 2 of them in there working, and it's like, I'm sitting there adding up. You have almost 12 to 15,000 in retail. Well, it's always good to have it on hand. Well, but is it though? Because retail is one of those things that will fly off the shelves when you recommend it, but it's not something people typically come in and ask for unless they ran out of it. It's not an impulse purchase as a rule. It's an educated purchase. And so keeping your inventory really lean, I think, makes a huge, huge difference and then weeding out what does not sell. Like, Liz, you specialize in acne, but I know a lot of estheticians like myself. I don't touch acne clients at all, so I'm not going to carry an acne line. I might have a spot treatment, like an acne stick or something, but for a full acne line, I don't work with the acne client. It's not my clientele, it's not my market. So I just try to keep my retail on shelf at the minimum of what I need on hand. Some things I do need 6 on hand of, or a dozen, because I'm going to go through that many every single month. But other things I won't buy over 3 of them at a time, or even some 1 or 2, because I might only sell 1 or 2 a year, but I know that one client's going to come in and ask for it, right?
I
So
used to call it just-in-time inventory.
yeah, I think that's a great
And
name for it.
yeah, I had a woman that worked for me for 10 years, and she just retired, and she called it that. Actually, I got to give her credit. And she's the one who managed my inventory, and she's the one who really taught me about that and keeping it streamlined, because I'm like, hey, my goal is to not get below a certain dollar amount in the check registry. And because we were a cash-based business, and I never had debt. And so she was like, okay, well, this is what we need for inventory. I go, that's what you're going to get. That's your budget. And as we grew, I was able to really grow more on stock and stuff. And, I kind of still run just in time inventory. It's actually just on a larger scale now, which is very interesting. Um, so yeah, so outsourcing, that's a big one. The next large area of topic is going to be focusing on our high value services. So how are we going to be able to identify what's profitable? A lot of us don't really know what our numbers are and what our profitable services are. I can hands down say that my Brazilian waxing services are my most profitable service in my business. And it's extremely profitable because I purchase my wax in bulk. And not only do I purchase it in bulk, I actually have it made for my company because that's how much waxing we do. It was a lot of work up front for sure, but I knew that could be it was our most requested service. It's what I specialized in when I first opened. And so now, like, as I'm growing, continuing to grow my business, like, oh, now I'm growing. Now I can get even bigger discounts with bigger purchases as long as I have the money for it. But in a recession, it's like, but I still have like those reserves in and I still can get that original pricing and
Nice.
still maintain a high profit margin as all expenses are going up like across the board. And then reducing your low demand offerings. One of the things that I've personally done with taking clients is I no longer do just brow waxes. So that's a huge no-no for me. But if somebody's getting a facial or a Brazilian or something expensive or another service, I'm gladly to do it as an add-on because it doesn't take any more time up on my calendar. And I'm more than happy to offer that. So making sure that we're doing those like high demand, high profitable services that also cost very little to do. Now, I can have an expensive facial. Let's talk about the hydrofacial. Okay. We're talking about what, a 45, 50,000, $45,000 machine, but yet I make more doing male Brazilian waxes in an hour than I can charge for a hydrofacial in an hour. And there's consumables for that hydrofacial. So people are like, oh, Liz, you should get the hydrofacial machine. I'm like, heck no. I go, I make more money doing male Brazilians or even female Brazilians for that matter.
Wax and sacks and cracks.
Wax and sacks and cracks, And so being able to identify that and not getting caught in that, like, I need to do this service because it's so popular and so trending. Let the other people do it and let them go out of business.
It's funny you bring up the hydrofacial because I have never had anybody call my salon or spa and ask if I do hydrofacials. Never once, ever, ever, ever. And I don't know, Courtney, do you offer them there? Nope. And you're still in school. Do they offer them in school, Janine? Nope. So, I mean, I just feel like that's a $50,000, it's just a spray and suck machine is really what it is.
It's a scam. When I was just working with Decalash, that's a national franchise, and they brought in the hydrofacial machine for a lot of the studios, and within 6 months, a lot of the studios were selling that machine and getting rid of it because it didn't do anything for them. And it is expensive, The consumables, you have to think about that. How much is a tip going to cost? How much do the solutions cost? How much do the serums? Can I use any other? And so people don't think about that. They just see the shiny ball and they think they have to have it. But if you're not selling, $200 facials now, having some machine isn't going to help you sell it. It's all about you're selling yourself and your knowledge. So if you're not doing a basic facial series on clients, then you're not going to be able to sell a hydrofacial.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I'm with you because Liz, you offer a lot of high-end services too, like I did. I was a technology driven spa. And I only did two areas. I mean, really I only do pretty much two things, which is, microcurrent facials with cold plasma and or dermaplaning, and then sunless beauty services. I'm a big spray tan person, so I do a lot of spray tanning, and those made me so much ridiculous money because there was such a high demand for both those. But my clients wanted to have something that was result driven, so they like that instant thing that they see. So with a microcurrent system, I could do one half their face and prove that they were getting some results immediately, even with the body machine. And then with the spray tan, I mean, you just go in white like me and you come out brown like me brown. And so that instant gratification, that fed my satisfaction for being an esthetician. And when I was younger, it was different. It was peels and it was facials and it was popping pimples and the whole bit. But as I grew older into the career, I liked the high-end services that clients could see instant results with. And that's what they would ask for because that's how I marketed myself. But I think you're right in that the hardest thing is taking off. Like, I don't know how many of you guys do this, but I go into some salons and the menu is overwhelming. How many services, like pedicure places, like just, rub the
Yeah.
calluses, take off the polish, trim the nails and be done. I just want a pedicure. Like, why does it have to be a pearl spa pedicure with something, like 52 things added on? It's like, just, get rid of my witchy
Yeah,
toes.
my menu has definitely gotten larger and it's more of a headache, not gonna lie. Um, and so if I bring anything on, it absolutely has to be results driven and a need that my customers are looking to solve. So that is how I answer the growth of my business. Is it something that's going to solve a problem that my customers have? And is it profitable?
Yeah.
So
What's
like
that return on the
I
investment?
just brought back on lash lifts. Lash lifts actually weren't super profitable for me because it was such a low price for what I did. However, I have junior staff now and I also increased my prices. So now
That's
for $125, they can get a lash lift. And I go, well, that's comparable to a facial, a junior price facial in my business. And it's good for my junior girls and it doesn't require a lot of training or a lot of knowledge. Like I won't do that anymore. It's not worth it for me. But for my junior staff and the consumables is like $1.50 a treatment. It's dirt cheap.
and
So
And
that's got to
that's
be. Go ahead,
it's
Laura.
a hot service right now, lash lift, because they can't afford lash extensions anymore. So lash lifts, and during the summer they always do, but like over the last year, it has been like way up there. And you might as well add a brow lamb while you're doing it at the same
Yeah.
time and
yeah.
really maximize it.
Unless they're Asian, please don't do it if they're Asian, because 3 days in it goes. It starts growing down again. It's just awful.
Starts curling like crazy.
Please don't do it
So
on my Chinese girls. It's so bad. They're like down here, and then somebody puts them up, and they look good, and then they start to grow out in like 1 week, and they go. They're so weird.
start doing some curling and stuff.
Yeah.
So another thing that's something that I'm definitely working on in my business right now because this is the first time since I've been open since we've had a recession. I closed my first spa business in 2008 when the last recession started. And so I lived through that. I saw what happened. It was crazy. I also had a kid that year and my husband needed a different job. So we moved to a different state. And so I do have staff and there's a lot of things that I like to do to my staff. The first thing is always cross training employees, making sure that they can do multiple services that are in demand. It's just like we have a lot on our menu. If I have one person that just wants to be a Brazilian wax specialist 2 years ago, 3 years ago, back in 2021, 2020, hands down, that would have been amazing for my business. In today's economy, no. I've had to pivot and even myself kind of be back in the treatment room part-time and staying fresh with the girls, staying fresh with myself. It's a massive slowdown that I've seen in my business as well. We're still doing really strong because I have a lot of strategies in place, but making sure my employees are cross-trained. Like I was really pushing for training earlier this year on lash lifts. And I was like, no, I'm not doing them again. I'm not doing them again. Courtney and I've had this conversation, I think like a year ago or something. And I'm like, nope, I'm not doing lash lifts. And here I am. I brought it back on because my manager says, Liz, we get phone calls like weekly, people asking for lash lifts. And we had like, I think a mom and two daughters come in together just the other day on a whim, back to back to back. And so one of my junior girls was able to take that this $375 in appointments for one family. And they added on all three of them added on brow waxes. And so really, I mean, my employee was able to do $450 in sales. And I couldn't do it. I didn't have time for it. My senior girls didn't have time for that. But that's such a great option So like when somebody's just getting started out, it's such a low consumable and it's a high demand service. A lot of people don't like doing lash treatments in this industry. A lot of people don't like doing Brazilians in this industry. But guess what? I'm not going out of business anytime soon. And I know people who do facials all day long. And people are like, I don't really need a facial, but I want my lashes, or I need my Brazilian because I'm going on vacation. So once again, identifying what those high demand services are and getting employees cross-trained on them. And
Courtney, do
then
you have employees?
No, I don't. It's just
Are
me by design.
By design, are you going to stay that way by design?
Yes.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks. I grew up in a self-employed household and was one of the employees forever. And we actually had pretty good staff, but I was like, no, that's not for me. Especially with something so
What
it's not that they show up, it's that they, they're doing a good job. There's so much more involved than like coming in and just showing up when it comes to this. Yeah.
So what is your greatest challenge in your business right now for you, out of curiosity?
I have brought on some newer services that I'm kind of pushing, that are a little, just a little slow to go. And one of them is like, it's called a flow prezzo, and people, once I get people in it, they come back, but it's, just, first of all, there's only like, 3 in the state that I live in. So it's kind of like, it's kind of
What does it do?
so
What
it's
does
a
it
that you lay in the suit, and it provides like deep pressure therapy, compression therapy, and far infrared heat. It's very hands off for us. We're basically getting them in the suit, making sure they're comfortable, and kind of just turning the machine on basically. And it's so good for you. It does a million things: better sleep, puts our body in more of a healing state. Better stress levels, that lower anxiety, good sleep, better digestion. I mean, honestly, like doctors and stuff are using it. But, because it looks like a spacesuit, people are like, what the heck is that thing? I don't know. It would make me claustrophobic and stuff.
So when you're offering it, are you doing it like as an add-on in addition to a hands-on facial treatment?
It can be, or it can be a standalone treatment, and it's honestly better. I also do targeted cryotherapy, so it is paired very well with that. And I offer it actually if you wanted to get a lash lift during it, but then I feel like you're missing out, to be honest, because you really want to just zen out and enjoy it. So I try to push it as a standalone for the most part.
I have to get your information because I'm writing an article for Dermoscope for 2025, and compression therapy is one of the things. And I'm like, I don't really know much. I know a little, but like now I'm going to know a lot. So I need to tap you for this article, and you'll be quoted in it too. You'll get a quote in there.
Yeah, it's a really great treatment. And the nice thing is you're really just getting them in it. It's nice because I'm 23. You guys know, most of you have been in it a long time. I have not taken very great care of my body. I try now, but trying halfway through doesn't always suit you that well. And
Yeah, you can do it. I'm 61. I did it. Liz will tell you. She was there with me through the whole debacle. She saw me get to my worst and saw me get back from it. So it can be done, right, Liz?
I went into this treatment on a trade show floor and was like, oh my gosh, I want this. I want this, let alone. So I bought it, which was very unlike me. I don't regret it, but it's just getting people to try it. And once they try it, they're like hooked. But
so Liz, what's your thoughts on how do you operate lean and still market to, like, how do you tap into that hidden value of your own clientele to educate them without spending a lot of money to do it? Like, what could she do to increase the demand?
I definitely start with videos emails, sending out emails, talking about it on social media. I work with numerous coaches, and I had a fabulous coaching session today. And one of my most expensive treatments that we're about to launch is our laser facial, our Moveo Glow laser facial. And I've been testing it for months now and seeing the efficacy, because I won't do anything that I don't believe in. And she suggested, because I said, my big goal for the next couple years is to really just hit some huge numbers for that laser machine. Like, we should be doing 30,000 a month by now on that laser machine, and we're not. And she's like, Liz, try this. Do one giveaway a month for every customer that comes in your business. All they have to do is make a purchase and say, like, hey, and so I'm talking about, like, everyone's talking about it. And it's at the checkout desk. What's the sign? Fill out this form. I can put it on my big LED sign that I have outside that says, win a free laser facial, stop in today, and just, you have to talk about it everywhere. And I'm going to be doing my postcard mailer marketing. And so one side you can talk about your lash lifts or whatever it is that you want to promote. The other side you can talk about the Flow Presso and maybe offer a special offer on it, or like an add-on. So like, we have to communicate to our clients everywhere. I have a huge email list. I have a huge mailing list. I got a great social media following, and I hear daily, oh, I didn't know you guys were moving, or I didn't know you do Brazilian waxing here. And I'm like, wow, okay. Like, and I'm marketing constantly, but yet
people don't read anymore.
We sent out text messages, phone calls, emails, Facebook posts that we moved last week. And yet people still showed up at the other location. Not only do they show up to the location, I have a sign on the door that says we moved with a new address, and they were still calling us for the address. So, communication is an art form. And
yes, listening is too.
So, yeah, very true. And so communicating these new services and these high dollar services, because you need to make the money on it. Like, you can do a launch sequence. I know Maxine Drake is really good at that kind of stuff. She's coached me through some of those things. And when you're getting really ready to launch something, like I'm getting ready to launch the laser facial, and I'm doing a whole process. I'm doing social media marketing. I'm doing social media ads. I'm going to be doing email marketing, text marketing. I'm sending out over 15,000, about 15,000 postcards. It's going to be everywhere, and it's going to be staggered between now and the end of January. So this is my big focus for like the next 4 months, like just hit them left and right. And I'm not only just that specific service, but other things as well. Right. And I'm putting a lot of money into this. I've saved money all summer long to put back into my marketing for this quarter and for this new move, this new location. And I knew we were going into a recession.
Yeah.
And I knew we were going to go into a recession in 2020. And I raised prices in 2020 before things went crazy. And we immediately made $20,000 more that the first month, when all my staff was like freaking out about the price increase. I'm like, don't worry about it. I go, we're in such high demand right now, but we have to do this now. And sure enough, July 1st, I did another increase on prices. And that was like right before like the recession started to hit us. And so now, even though the recession is hitting us, our numbers are still really strong because I raised my prices versus suffering right now. So this is like forecasting. We're all old enough women in here to have lived through a recession before.
I've been through quite a few. 20. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I knew that I needed
89.
to put money away to really do a heavy launch for the laser and the facial and being in a new location, because it's more expenses for me for sure. And so I'm just like, it's not that all my eggs are in one basket. They're in multiple baskets, but they're getting delivered all over my city.
Yeah. But it is tough to operate lean. And there was a time when
It
I
is.
used to only look at my bank account on the 5th and the 20th, and all my bills were set up on auto bill pay, and I paid bi-monthly, and it was a well ran machine. And as demand and all of these things change, I think it's really, like you said, it's really important to see where you're spending money, and it's really easy to let spending get away from you, from the simplest things, like you said. I mean, how often are you going out for coffee, or
Yep.
how often are you picking up the lunch for somebody, or how often are you stocking up on bulk, and then you've got like, oh wow, I have $500 in Sam's Club accoutrements in the closet in there that I won't go through in a year, especially if you're a solo esthetician like you, Courtney. And I think Sarah, I don't know, is this Sarah Caps from Spa 721?
I'm not sure which.
Yes.
Hi, honey. Put your pretty face on the camera
Oh,
for everybody. Don't you be so hoarding your beautiful looks. We're not having it.
okay.
And Sarah's an interesting person also, because Sarah has gone from where you are, Courtney, and even where you are, Janine, where she was a student, and then I met Sarah right out of beauty college, working for somebody else, and then now she owns her own day spa. So I don't know why her little camera's not working, because that's not right. But I want you guys to
If
see
I
that
click it, it will it says that like I will get disconnected from the call because I'm on my phone and not the computer.
Oh, no worries. Well, we
Okay.
should get an avatar for that girl. I just want you guys to know that if I look weirdly pink, it's because my camera's trying to make night vision. Look at the full moon.
Pretty. It's pretty.
Crazy.
So, we did talk about marketing,
so
which was
red.
like the final thing I was going to talk about, but there's one before it.
Oh.
But yeah, Melinda, you said something about marketing on a budget. And when we are in this recession, marketing on a budget can definitely be done. Phone calls, calling our client list, putting signs up in our business. Like, I love signs in my doors or right at my checkout station, behind the door in the bathroom, like next to the toilet.
That's a good idea.
Not
Not just wash your hands.
Yeah, wash your hands first, please.
And
We
spend your
put those
money.
signs up, but email marketing, posting on social media, posting on your personal social media. So if nobody saw, I did a Facebook Live in the Educating Estheticians group about a month ago, and I did 2. They're really, really good. I definitely recommend going back and watching them. And if you're not in the group, be sure to join the group. But where was I?
Marketing.
Yeah, low cost
Facebook.
marketing strategies.
Your videos for Facebook.
Oh, so being on your personal Facebook profile, I share my life journey on there. The things that I'm interested in, the hobbies, the bodybuilding, my business. I'm not in there saying, get a facial today. Oh, this is my waxing. I make jokes about like my waxing because it's really funny, especially for the dudes that follow me. But I get so much engagement on my social media. It's insane. Now, I was at church yesterday, and the woman I serve in my church in the kitchen once a month, and I've been doing it for like 13 years now. And the woman who's in charge of the kitchen, I've known her over the years, and we're friends on Facebook. And we just had such an amazing conversation. She was like saying, like, I'm like, are you stalking me? Like, she sees all my posts. I go, but you never engage. You never like anything. Like, I don't know you're following me. Just because nobody's engaging with you, it doesn't mean that they're not seeing what you're doing. So keep posting on social media. And
bad at
I
it.
do recommend trying to find ways to engage with people. It's social. It's not posting advertising. Your social media is social. So I am social on my social media. Another big thing that is really helping with recession stuff right now is making sure you have client retention strategies and loyalty. I've had a level 1 loyalty program in my business for 11 years now, where I offer 1 point for every dollar spent. I do 20% off for new client referrals. It's hugely successful. And I also have over the years offered birthday specials, and it has changed over the years, and I'm actually getting ready to change it again. And those are all free. Those are all free loyalty programs. And I'm in the process of building out paid membership programs now because I want more recession proof in my business. So Courtney, you're doing this Flowpresso. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Good.
Flowpresso. Okay, Flowpresso. I'm building out a wellness room in my spa where I'm going to have a sauna and a table where people can just lay on it and it massages them. And I'm probably going to get one of those red LED lights that lay above them. So they're getting massaged underneath them, and then they get the LED light on their face and any exposed skin as well. And in my VIP programs, they'll get like vouchers for that or unlimited use for it. So even their monthly membership, even though they're getting a ton of things, they're getting that as like a benefit versus, oh, use my sauna room for 45 minutes at $60. Instead, it's like, it's kind of an incentive for them to spend more money with other things with us and try different services. And so it's more of a benefit room versus something I'm actually trying to make money on a la carte. So to me, that's like membership, that's loyalty. Oh, you're coming in for your facial. Why don't you come in 45 minutes early and go get yourself a massage on the massage table and go get a sauna, and you're going to be nice and warm when you come in for your facial. Your pores are all going to be opened up, and they already had red LED lights, so they're already prepped for their service with us. And so loyalty and retention strategies and VIP programs, they can be paid, they can be free, they can be automated for sure. I use Vagaro. There's a lot of things in there that I can automate, like my point system is all automated in there, and it makes it just super, super easy for me. So yeah, those are the big things. There's always those little things like you can increase retail sales, but we talked about retail can be one of those things. If you're not a good salesperson and your products aren't solving the issues that your customers are having, it's just going to sit there on your shelves. And until you get good at it, keeping your retail inventory, like just-in-time inventory, it will require a lot of work, but everything's work in running a business.
And to that end, Liz, one of the things that I think is probably the most important thing you can do with your inventory is have a good negotiating relationship with your rep. So if I have a product, no matter what I'm doing, and I'm not getting a good return on it, or people aren't liking it, and it's 90 days in, I'm going to call up my distributor and I'm going to go, look, I got this product. It's high end. I can't seem to get people convinced that it's great. It's just out of their price point, or they didn't see the feedback on it's been negative. And I've got X amount on stock and I want an RMA. I will take the restock fee for in-house credit, and I want to use it towards things that sell. I think that's a really important thing to be able to establish with the manufacturers that, look, I want to do business with you, but I want to do more business with you. And I can't because these 6 SKUs are crap. Just plain and simple crap. And because I'm dealing with a product that has no ROI, it's not turning over, the feedback's negative, I need to get it off my shelf while it's well within the expiration date for you to sell to where it's more can be used somewhere else. So how can we do that? And I think that's okay.
It is absolutely okay to negotiate. As I'm building out my new chocolate business to add into the spa, I am looking at very specific ingredients to use in the manufacturing of my bean to bar chocolate. And I found one company that sells wild harvested mountain strawberries, freeze dried. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, snap. I'm like, wow, that's such a unique ingredient that I can't find anywhere else. And so when I go on their website, I'm like, okay, I need to make a phone call to these people. Like literally, I don't even want to order on them. I need to build a relationship with them. Because if this is something that really is like, first of all, I need to make sure I can continue to get that supply. I need to make sure it's good, first of all. But if it's so amazing that I need to make sure I have a steady supply and at a price point that's going to make me a profit. So when you are like, when I built out my waxing side of the business, I sampled out waxes from, first of all, I was paying retail prices, okay, from other people in the industry who are doing very well for themselves and they had great wax. But I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't give you $22 for a can of wax. Like, I know I can get this cheaper. And I did that. I literally paid that. And this was 10 years ago. I was paying those prices. And now I'm like, no. And so I went on a mission searching out that low price point, but with an amazing wax. And I went to Italy and I found it. I didn't fly to Italy at that time, but I found a supplier in Italy. They shipped over some samples for me. I tried it out. I think I had them bring me more samples because I'm like, this is good. I want to make sure that this is going to work in my business. And sure enough, I had it customized a little bit and boom, bada bing, bada boom. Now I have this great relationship with this manufacturer and my wax is very inexpensive. Very inexpensive. And high profits.
She'll sell it to you, I promised. If you ask her for it.
If it fits your wax pot, that's another problem. So
yeah, that is a good one.
There's another problem.
Gotta fix
Does
your
anybody
wax.
have any questions about anything? No.
Listen, hear the crickets?
Crickets. I love it. I love it. It's an hour into this. I wanted to keep this at about an hour, so this is fabulous. I hope you guys enjoyed this training. Thank you, Malinda, for joining, and all you lovely guests. I hope everyone got a little something out of this. And if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to join our Educating Estheticians Facebook group because that's where I hang out. And that's where a lot of these lovelies hang out. And we have so much great, valuable information found inside of that group with lots of free training too.
Definitely. All right. Super
Thanks
fun.
everybody for joining in tonight. You guys have a fabulous night and we'll see you on the next training.